امتين بتروحوا امتين بيرجعوا in order not to miss so many classes. So ناطرين بعد الفيدباك من الجماعة من قطر كمان as well. Hopefully إن شاء الله. هلا go back to this one. Chapter 2 كنا بلشنا we talk about it. حكينا about this is in chapter 1. حكينا about the role of the government. What they can do the government to put rules and regulation and different things and how it's affecting our business as well. وبلشنا نحكي about how why to monitor the society. We talk about that always we have to take opportunity only if you are willing for a change. We agreed that sometimes the change costs money, and sometimes you have to change ownership, sometimes you have to change concept, sometimes you have to change the menu, sometimes you have to change utensils, equipment, whatever. Sometimes you have to change your strategy, sometimes you have to change the way of doing business. So the only way to take advantage of any opportunity is change. حتى sometimes change opportunity is an external opportunity. You have to change internally in order to take action of the advantage of the external. وحكينا about the bad corporate citizen. Always you have to have a good corporate citizen. وحكينا about good reputation والassessment legislation. Okay. What to look at? Whole issue economic growth, interest rate, inflation, exchange rate, and trade deficits. Economic growth influence consumer demand, cost of factor production, availability of factor production, especially labor and scarce resources. Who could explain this? What do I mean this? يعني هي usually should you invest during recession or should you invest during booming economy? Should I open a restaurant during recession or should I open my restaurant whenever the booming economy is booming? Should I open my hotel during recession or should you open it during another question? Is it the right time to invest in Lebanon? Yes or no? شو؟
إنه أكيد it's not the right idea.
Why?
إنه أكيد لا.
Why no?
يعني ما في demand، ما في كتير demand، ما في purchasing power، ما في إنه it's not the right time. It's a very low demand وحتى supply for anything. يعني you won't make profit if you do invest.
طيب should you invest during whenever the economy is booming?
Awesome.
يعني do we invest whenever the economy is growing, whenever it is booming?
No.
طب should جمال عم يقول لي no. طب جمال should you invest during recession?
Also no. It's usually when things are going downhill, like right now, usually prices like to, let's say, start a business, it's actually cheaper a bit.
Would you invest in Lebanon now? Would you invest in Lebanon now?
In different fields, yes, such as like maybe apartments, like buying apartments, buildings, because people are afraid because
I
like
agree. In general, if you will wait till you have an economic growth, يعني demand exceeding supply, in a booming economy, everything will become expensive. So the cost of investment is very high. تخيلوا هلا Lebanese economy is booming. Cost of land is so high. Taxes will be so high. ولما يكون economy is booming يعني unemployment rate is very low. Most of the people having a job, a stable job. طب أنا from where should I get my staff? Unemployment rate is low. I need to buy a piece of land. It will become very expensive. وإذا صير في عندي كتير demand for a certain product, كتير demand for raw material and it does not exist the supply تبعها، في عندك scarcity of resources. So أنا بتطلع plus. طب إذا بتطلع بريسيشن، طب why should I invest in Lebanon هلا؟ ما بعرف about stability, exchange rate، شو بده يصير، different things وبلا بلا بلا. هو in general you need to analyze the economy. The best time to invest is whenever the economy is coming out of recession. It is still in recession, but it is coming out of recession. It starts to recover. Whenever it's coming out of recession, the government will give you incentive. Please come and help us to come out of recession. But whenever the economy is booming, the government doesn't need you. ليش government should give you incentive if the economy is booming? ليش government بدك تعطيك tax relief إذا the economy is booming? While government بدها تعطيك free electricity إذا the government is booming. So أنا بدي أطلع those what I have. لاحظوا كيف هون monitor and predict. Predict, it has to be based on analysis. Predict is based on figures, on data. So you have to predict, and once the economy will start to go out of recession. في كتير عالم بيقولوا لك this is the best time to invest in Lebanon right now. لأنه everything is cheap. The minimum wage is very low. The unemployment is so high. يعني في كتير عالم that are willing to work even at minimum wage. Government are willing to give you investment هلا tax relief. Please come and invest. Versus if we are going to wait يفوت هلا ال IMF والورد بانك و different things ويصير في عنا dollars وبلا بلا بلا. لا. It become very expensive. عم نفهمها كيف؟
Yes.
وانا بخاف لما يصير في عندك economic growth بيصير في عندك
But Bassem, you wouldn't really open a restaurant مثلا in like in this state.
ما انتبه. What is the biggest investment of the restaurant? It is not the operational cost. It is the investment cost. وinvestment cost بالرestaurant هن land واequipment.
I think you're cutting off.
هلا land is very cheap. Okay, rent is cheap. وحتى الاكويبمنت now في كتير suppliers عندهم an overstock of equipment. Those suppliers they need cash flow. So they are willing to sell some of their investment اللي هو assets either at cost or below cost. انت by doing this انا بربح as an investor. Why whoever has هلا cash money, cash dollars, he is living in a better environment. Now the cash dollar has a better value لأنه we are in a recession. بس هذا الكاش dollar that you have إذا الإيكونوميك is growing ما عندك هالقد الفاليو as much as we have right now. أنا أكثر شيء بخاف لما الإيكونومي is booming he has labor resources. لما الانemployment بتصير very low, unemployment rate بتصير 5, 6, 7%. And from where I'm going to get my resources? من وين بدي الاقي qualified people؟ من ليه بدي الاقي qualified chef, skilled manager, skilled front of the house, skilled back of the house. From where I'm going to find them? I will be able to find them, but the cost تبعي it will become very high. كيف يعني الكوست تبعي very high؟ أنا ساعتها إذا أنا عم بشتغل economic growth and I need to open a restaurant, I need to have a manager of the restaurant. أنا within my budget I will pay $2,000 for a manager. Even if you throw $2,000, you will not find. لأنه economy is so much growing that the businesses are stealing the skills. The businesses are stealing all qualified people. ساعتها أنا I might go across the street لقي نور, she is the manager of that restaurant across the street. Desperately I need someone qualified. Noor, how much that restaurant is paying you? بتقول لي نور they are paying me $3,000. Noor, I will pay you $4,000 and come work in my restaurant. هيك لما يصير في عندك scarce resources. scarce resources مثل ما هلا عندك بلبنان بيصير في عندك the legal market, بيصير في عندك black market. Scarce resources, we are dying for a tank of diesel, لتانكة بنزين. We don't have it. We resource ما عندنا resources, ما عندنا supply للبنزين. How much people that are willing to pay 600,000, 700,000 for a tank of diesel? هيك بصير معك لما يصير في عندك booming economy. والبوم هيدا how to solve it if demand will meet the supply. بس إذا demand بصير أكثر من السبلاي كأنك قاعد بأوتيل عندك 200 room, there is a demand for 400 room. شو ما عمل بالريت؟ والله الراك ريت تبعي 200 بتركوا 200 طلع الراك ريت لل $500. هذا growth. So أنا whenever you start investing, my strategy during recession, it is not my strategy as economic growth. أنا أعطيكم in my example, in my business, I do sell food stuff. Okay? Part of my food stuff هني frozen item. Part of my frozen item هني tempura shrimp, seafood cocktail, butterfly shrimps, all that. فتشوفوا كيف الاستراتيجي تبعيتكم تتغير. We don't have an economic growth right now. We have a recession. I stopped importing all those items. لأنه طب when Bassem do you import them? يعني indirectly I took them out of my portfolio. لأنه those items I need to import them right now. هلا at the current exchange rate حق البوكس 90, 100, 110,000 lira. And there is no economic growth. We have recession. Okay? So it is not the right time to invest it. What is the right time to invest? هلا you invest item that at very high consumer demand. يعني مثل grain. هلا consumer شو بده؟ بده necessity. بده رايس، بده grain، بده sunflower oil. Okay? هلا you can live without shrimp, without seafood, but still بده necessity. You invest in that, your strategy will change from a high consumer goods to low cost consumer goods. ما فيني يكون أنا just I import cheese from Europe and you could maintain in the business right now. لا يا حبيبي الديماند تبعك نزل. Your current portfolio during economic growth. مشان هيك we have to monitor. مشان هيك change. مشان هيك an opportunity. إذا أنا كنت معروف ب fine dining establishment, fine dining product, now you have to change. هيدا ال fine dining هو during economic growth. هلا أنت recession, you want to stay in business, بدك تغير mentality, بدك تغير المنيو, بدك تغير product, بدك تغير كل شيء. Okay? Second, you look at interest rate. What do you mean by interest rate? Who can explain? How interest rate will affect you?
And it affects the decision.
عادة لما يكون عندك the bank is taking from you 10-15% interest. طب أنا how can I get a loan? What is my profit? How much I'm supposed to generate profit to pay back the loan plus an interest rate of 15%. طب إذا أنا as a restaurant my net profit is 20%. طب أنا بدي طلع من my operation 20% so I can pay the bank 15% interest on the loan that I'm getting. لا بلا هاللون without going into the interest. يعني شو معناتها؟ the higher the interest rate, the lower the chances for you to depend on the financial institution to expand and to take opportunity of the external factors. Just 1 second. Lieutenant Ayman. Okay. So فهمنا كيف؟ هلا لاحظوا الانترست ريت influence the cost of capital for a new project. تخيل انا عم بعمل ريستورant بكلفني $1,000,000. Okay, by the end of the year I had to pay it back to the bank 1.2 million. يعني I have to generate $200,000 net profit just to pay it back to the bank. But that's imposed pressures on you. Automatically, whenever it's the highest interest rate, you will be forced to increase your prices. And you need to cover the interest rate. If you increase the prices and it will be over what is the market price is, you will be out of the business. Simply. So أنا بدي أطلع على بنوكي very low interest rate. وهي vice versa, it's related to the saving interest rate or loan interest rate. بيوروب بأمريكا if you have $10 million and you are putting them in the bank, إن شاء الله يعطوك half percent interest. What they are telling you? They are telling you don't put your money in the bank because you are not going to generate any interest revenue. بالعكس, go back and investment in business so you could generate profit. نحن العكس بلبنان. نحن before 2019 كان البنك شو كان يعطي؟ انه معك انت $10 مليون تحطهم بالبنك خذ عليهم 15% interest. So whoever has the money بيقول لك if I open a business it will not give me 15%. So let me put them in the bank by having 15%. بس إذا عم بيعطوا عم بيعطوا saver, whoever is investing money in the bank عم بيعطوا 15%. Whoever is getting a loan عم بياخذوا منه 20%. هلا شو صار؟ صار اللي حاطط مصاري بالبنك راحوا مصرياته. Whoever is getting loan from the bank, he is not paying back the loan لأنه still they are charging him 20% interest. وما في business he barely can cover the interest expenses in order to pay the interest principal. So interest rate is affecting your businesses. بأمريكا بيوروب you can go and borrow money from the bank بيشارجوك 2% interest. 2% is affordable for any investor to take money from the bank and invest them. But whenever a bank will start charging you 15, 16, 70% interest, there is no business can generate enough profits حتى to cover your interest expenses. So interest, yes, it is one of the factors that we have to think of, and it is going to affect our strategy. Inflation. How inflation could affect the business. لما يصير في كتير inflation مثل لبنان, okay, everything went up. The cost of production went up. The cost of the raw material went up. Everything is going up. So automatically لما يصير في عندك inflation, your cost of production goes up, your selling price goes up, their purchasing power will go down, your business is going to suffer. So مشان هيك go back to what Jamal he said. Yes, Lebanon, it is the right time to invest, but you have to select what kind of investment should you make in Lebanon. Should I open a restaurant right now? It depends on your concept. Depends who is your target customer. يعني what used to be cheapest things for the Lebanese consumer يا أخي يروح كل منقوش الزعتر حقها 500 ليرة. This is the cheapest breakfast. طب هلا منقوشة الزعتر حقها 5000 ليرة. Why? Inflation. So the demand for those restaurants, even للمناقيش, went down. هلا بيجي substitution انه بنعمل منقوشه بالبيت بدل ما نشتريها ب 5000 يمكن صار بتكلفنا 3000 بالبيت. We are saving 2000. So هيك بدنا نبلش هلا how the strategy is going to affect us. يعني هلا صرنا نطلع انه اذا عندك high interest rate it is not a good place to invest. صح؟ اذا عندنا inflation you need to select the right businesses to invest in. Some businesses, yes, you could invest. Some businesses, that we cannot invest in it. Exchange rate.
بس لبنان أكبر مثل.
نحن Lebanon, all what is affecting us هي is the trade deficit. هي what's the trade deficit? Does anybody knows what is the trade deficit? نحن مشكلة غير عنه السرقة وما السرقة و corruption و different things. Now one of the main reasons of what it is happening right now in Lebanon هو هيدا trade deficit. Does anybody know what is trade deficit?
عم نحكي imports أكتر من exports.
Exactly. هي deficit between how much we import versus how much we export. نحن الدفرنس بيناتنا is around 17 to 20 billion dollars on a yearly basis. We import way more than we export. It creates us a deficit. Plus, ليه create us a deficit? لأنه we have to find ways from where can we get that difference. Has 17 billion. We don't print dollars. We print lira. But you have to pay $20 billion to importers, to outside businesses. And you don't print dollars. نحن بفوت على لبنان مثلا 50 مليار منظهر 100 مليار. من وين بدك تجيب الديفرنس؟ That's the problem. هون بيجي ال government policy. هون بيجي ال government rules and regulation. هلا بتقول لك كيف this Very simply, you could minimize all that. عندك for example Sanita. Why do we have other brand tissue يلي هن non-Lebanese? Why do I have Fine? Why I have Kleenex? Why do I have Turkish brand? أنا to minimize my deficit بيجي عن أحمد إنه أحمد you need to import tissues not made in Lebanon. بيقول لي yes. بقول له type fine, but there will be 30% taxes on it. By imposing 30% taxes on his item that he's going to import, إذا بيعمل لك cost structure, it will become way more expensive than Sanita. And no one is going to buy it. إذا ما لها added value, إذا ما لها clear differentiation on what is available in Lebanon. بس إذا أنا government ما عملت policies to minimize that import, I will be facing a trade deficit. And we will end up doing what we are doing right now. هلا our trade deficit has been minimized. صار هلا deficit around 4 to 5 billion بس. Why? لأنه صارنا هلا our population that are depending more على local products. How is affecting your strategy? It's going to affect my strategy. إذا أنا فايت على economy, I'm thinking about using raw material being imported, would that economy impose high taxes على product being imported, I will change my strategy. I will start depending على local product. يعني إذا أنت ستاربكس usually previously لأنه ما كان في عندك كتير policy, so كل شيء cups, كل شيء tissues, we used to import them from, for example, from Dubai. هلا اجت الجفرمنت قالت لك no, we need to minimize هذا الديفيسيت يا حبيبي. All the cups that you are going to use on all Starbucks in Lebanon, all the tissue, all the trash bag, all the milk, everything, they have to be made in Lebanon. فأنا ساعتها بضطر أغير. وهيدا التريد هذا اللي صار مزبوط. هلا ستاربكس إذا مش متغلبط عم بيستعمل صار لوكال ميلك. كان من قبل يستعمل imported milk. صار هلا عم يستعمل لوكال. كان يجيب كابس من برا. هلا صار he's choosing a local company that are printing for him that. التيشوز كان sometimes يجيبوا من برا. هلا صار عم يجيبوا local. By أنا minimizing trade deficit شو عم بعمل بالايكونومي تبعيتي؟ I'm booming my economy. So everything is produced locally. بس إذا أنت ريستورانت بدك تجيب التوماتو تبعك من برا وبعدها the same price as the local one رح يصير في عندك trade deficit. So أنا whenever I look at economy بتطلع على هيدول. ناخذ for example مصر، ناخذ سوريا. مصر ما عندهم التريد deficit. They do not have. لأنه everything that is being produced in Egypt to the point ليك قد عندهم ما عندهم trade deficit. لوريال, the big company L'Oreal, all L'Oreal, حتى you buy in Lebanon L'Oreal طلعوا made in where? Made in Egypt. So اجوا لجماعة اللوريال انه انتم مصر نحن 70 million, you need to import L'Oreal. Hey, we need to impose a very high tax on it لأنه في كتير shampoo made in Egypt. So L'Oreal to fix that solution شو عملوا؟ اجوا فتحوا معمل بإيجيبت. By opening a plant in Egypt, all the labor force in Egyptian, the government طلعوا taxes. هلا عم يطلعوا taxes منهم They are minimizing unemployment rate. Everything is being produced in Egypt. This is how it's supposed to be. Try to get a product imported, go and try to sell it in Turkey. Very high, very taxes on anything being imported, and you try to sell it in Turkey. The only way to maximize the return is to minimize our trade deficit. And this is what we are trying to do right now in Lebanon. We try to depend on a local item, local product. Exchange rate is going to affect your business. Currently, whoever has fresh dollar عم بيصلي ان شاء الله ما ينزل الدولار to his favor. If the dollar go back down and keep on going down, ساعتها بيساعد الايكونومي to coming out of recession. اتفقنا على هون؟ اوكي؟
Yes, Basim.
طيب. Political forces. What do I mean by this? As an investor, what do you look for in any place to invest? Politically, you are stable. Economically, you are stable. Safety, security, you are stable. Always, the government, will parliament, holy كلهم, they come up with rules and regulations. They update the old laws with the new laws. The new laws that will go with the current market trend, with the current research, will current everything. نيجي على لبنان. Lebanon, simple example, if someone declare bankruptcy, what does it mean? Does anybody know what does it mean?
They're out of money.
Bankruptcy in Lebanon, it means that you are out of business for the rest of your life. لأنه we don't have law related to bankruptcy. We don't. If a court will take you into bankrupt in Lebanon, خلاص, for the rest of your life, you are being negatively affected. يمكن أنا, I went out of bankruptcy because of what happened the last 2 years. Because of the inflation, because of the recession, we went bankrupt. But the previous 20, 25 years, I didn't face any problem. بأمريكا في bankruptcy chapter 11, chapter 7, everyone can go bankrupt. Always they will give you chances. I'll take a simple example. Monsieur Donald Trump is a tycoon business person. 6 times he declared bankruptcy. 6 times. And he became manager, he became president. That's the businesses, what they look for. Holy laws or regulation. في كتير businesses are afraid to come to Lebanon. They are not being protected. أنا بأمريكا I declare bankrupt. I follow chapter 11. Chapter 11, what does it mean? That I will go to the court and I need 5 to 6 years to restructure myself. Okay? Then I will pay back all my loans in 6 to 7 years. Law and the court will force all the debtors from suppliers, from banks, to stop demanding you to pay their loans. Will give you a chance. And if you declare bankrupt and you get out of it, خلاص, It clean your records. In Lebanon, if you declare bankrupt and you cleaned your name, بيضل اسمك مضروب bankrupt. خلاص you declare bankruptcy before. هيك بتطلع على businesses. This is how بتطلع على rules. بتطلع على regulation. بتطلع على employment rules and regulation. بتطلع على taxation rules and regulation. يعني بتطلع انه كيف التاكس ريت تبعك، كيف التبقى ريتيرن تبعك. What you will do with all rules and regulation, what are the legislation, what are the government incentive. Well, and I have nothing to do with that, but it's going to affect the strategies that I'm going to implement. Government stability. We are not stable. Whenever your government is not stable, and automatically your parliament is not stable, automatically كل شيء new rules or regulations are not going to be taken. Everything is going to be affected. Okay? International pacts and treaties. We like it or we don't like it. What happened between some of the Arab worlds and Israel, it is going to affect us in one way or another. If we talk tourism, it is going to affect us. Try someone to convince me why هيدا people يلي هو إماراتي, بحريني, Sudani, Omani, whatever, why they have to come to Lebanon if they have the chance right now to go to Israel? Why someone has to open business in Lebanon, one now can open a businesses in those destinations and open his market to Israel. أنا بتطلع عليهم هون. And it's very important to know what do I have as international agreement. The peace agreement make a big difference. Can you imagine what is the return on Israel will be from signing these international peace agreement مع دبي وهول. Can you imagine how much dollars will come to their economy? Can you imagine what are the number of tourists that will come to them? It's a virgin destination for all the people they were not able to travel to Israel before. Now they can travel to it. Holy, automatically, it encourage me now to open business in those destinations. And the number of the business is going to expand, blah, 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 different things. And I'll take a simple example how international treaties could affect your economy. Sudan, that just signed a peace agreement with Israel. The World Bank, United States, IMF, all إذا مش متغلبط, either all or they هيك with scratch of pen, they eliminate $16 billion of foreign debt. تعرفوا $16 billion of foreign debt, eliminating it, what will happen to your current economy? تخيلوا هلا يجي يقولوا لك انت دين لبنان هو 20 مليار دولار، ما عادش في دين لبنان. What will happen to your economy, to your inflation, to your interest rate, to yours internally? What will happen? Booming economy بيصير في عنا. أنا بتطلع على international treaties how it's going to affect business. الوار, or you will cover them in class on Monday. So I will stop here لأنه في كثير عالم ما قدروا فاتوا لأنه they have an internet connection.